Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Jakks Pacific Super Mario Brothers movie, Mario and Bowser. I'm going to do them in one video because there's not going to be that much to talk about them because they're not like the most high-end figures. They're not trying to be, so that's not a knock on them. They're not. They don't come with much, and there's not a whole lot to them. But there is enough to them that they do warrant a review. If you're into collecting Mario stuff at all, or Nintendo stuff, you're going to be interested in these. Bowser in particular has a really unique feature, and actually so does Mario. For the price point, these have some really cool things going on, but are they worth that price point? That's the question. So let's find out by getting them off the stand and taking a closer look. This guy stands to the top of his hat about, well, just shy of 13 centimeters. That's going to make him almost exactly 5 inches. That puts him a whole inch taller than the World of Nintendo Mario. So we're not doing any comparisons here with that. We're not comparing this with the SH Figure Arts either. It's nowhere close to the level of finish. Kind of, because that was kind of a dud, but either way, this is not a comparable thing. It's a unique thing, stands on its own. Comes in at $25 price point full retail though, although they're already on sale at Target for much, much cheaper. Interesting release. So let's go ahead and do a height measurement on Bowser. We're going to leave him in this position because that's pretty much the position he's going to be in all the time. He's going to stand roughly, let's just call it 7 inches. And that's going to be about, it's rough, but 18 centimeters. Here he is up against a Darwin. Actually, kind of a convenient height for Darwin. He can give him a kiss on the nose, give him a little boop there, or smell his hair. And then up against Mario. Well, Mario's a little bit shorter than Darwin. Okay, so let's set Bowser aside for now. He's so big, he's not going to be that far aside. All right, he's casting a shadow. We'll move him over here. Okay, so let's talk about the aesthetics on Mario. But first, question of the day. What do you guys think of the new Mario movie? Does it look good to you? Do you care about the voice acting? What are your thoughts? I know a lot of people want to be mad at Chris Pratt for playing Mario. It was never going to be Mario's voice. The voice actor, I think that would drive everyone crazy after about 2 minutes to have full dialogue in that Mario voice. So I don't mind that personally. I'm not as big on Jack Black as other people are. For Bowser, I think we needed a little bit more of a baritone / bass type of voice. But it's okay. It doesn't really bother me. I think they all sound good enough, and I'm thinking the movie's going to be decent. Okay, so let's get into the aesthetic. But first, one last thing. Just want to let you guys know I am doing a live stream once a month from now on. It is the last Saturday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to tune in, you should do that. It'll be this Saturday, depending on... You might be seeing this on Sunday, in which case you missed it. But then come back for the next one. Last Saturday of every month, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be doing a small giveaway every stream. Again, once a month only, though. All right, so let's talk about Mario. His unique feature, you might have already noticed. He's got eyes that follow you, and the way they did that was by making them clear plastic with the eyeballs back in there. Like the irises are in there. The irises, the pupil, they're recessed so that when you turn it, it looks like they're following you, mostly. Like, it's not perfect because it is still not following you, but look at that. It looks like he's looking off to the side because the plastic is cutting off the white part of the eye there. And so it looks like the eyes are following you. And I think that's kind of cool. Not great for posing or photos, because if you're trying to make him look like he's looking in a different direction, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But that's a pretty cool idea. It also gives him a little bit more of that realism look with the transparent eyes that they're going for with the extra stitching and stuff. It matches the film, the little quilty pattern. It's not really quilty, whatever you call that. I guess more stitching marks in the hat. I think they've done a pretty cool job of making this look like the movie Mario. And they've done a good job making the movie Mario look like regular Mario, but a little bit different. So I'm okay with that. Now, it's a Jakks Pacific figure, so you're expecting it to be mostly a little kid's toy that's not super high detailed. And that is mostly what it is, but like I said, pretty high price point. A little bit bigger than we're used to, but is it worth it still? I don't know. The paint job for the red part of his shirt up around his neck, around here, it's not painted that well. The gold is painted well enough. They did get the rivet over here, so I'll give them some credit there. I do think the sculpt is worth it. They're stitching and everything all the way where it needs to be. They did sculpt and paint his shoe straps. Some people call them shoestrings. I just said straps because I can't speak English anymore. I call them shoelaces though, so I don't know where straps came from. But you've got that. And then like I said, the details in the hat and everything is pretty well done. I think most people will be happy with this. Is it technically worth 25 bucks? No, but you are paying the Nintendo tax. However, the World of Nintendo Mario, an inch shorter of course, only 10 bucks. The price point's not really sitting well with me, but if you're going to ignore the price point and get these anyway, I think you'll be okay with it. Flesh tone is all molded plastic, by the way, so that's good. Alright, so yeah, he looks pretty good. I'll give him an aesthetic rating of... for 25 bucks, I'm only going to go 7 out of 10. The clean coolness of the eyes gives him a bonus point, and the sculpt, but the paint is not really there. So 7's probably pretty generous, but like I said, he's got some unique things going on that make him pretty cool. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic on Bowser. Pretty much in the same vein as Mario, except he doesn't have the cool eyes. He just has painted on eyes, which are surprisingly well done. So I will give them that. But there's a lot that's not great. For instance, he does have a split right down the middle of his head. Not super obvious, but it is a thing. And then, of course, his jaw is split. And we'll get to what's in his mouth in a minute. Paint job on this guy, there's not a whole lot. It's okay. Like, the silver parts are pretty good. The black parts are decent. They did a good job shading the green. I'll give them that for sure. The horns could be a lot cleaner, especially at the brown. On the back, I don't know if this is how it is in the movie, if there's actually no sculpt for the brown part, because there's not here, it's just painted brown. It's all one sculpt there, so that's weird. But the spikes themselves are okay. We have more of the shading along the leg and the tail. It's overall pretty well done, and a really good paint job would make this look a lot better, because the sculpt is solid, just like Mario. They have like the scale texture, sort of scale texture, and some nice detailing on the shell and head and everything. The hair's got some nice lines in it, but it doesn't have the paint job to really carry it through. Could be a lot better. There are a few weird things too, like if you look at his wrists, he's got a spike right here, an even bigger spike right here, but if you look right here, it's a little tiny one. And if you look at this one right here, it's mushed completely. So I don't know what the spikes are doing. They're not pointing out. I don't know what happened. It looks like all of the spikes were kind of mushed that direction, except for this one. It's very, very strange. And then the way they sculpted some kind of weird curve in the arm, that's a little bit strange too. You won't notice it in his Bowser pose. But that's definitely weird. And then the sculpt for the body is also weird. This shoulder is forward. His belly's twisted. You can see his tail comes out over here to his leg. I don't know what they were thinking. The tail is definitely sculpted in a pose, but you get this basically useless articulation. It's kind of a disaster in terms of the pre-posed sculpt and then the lack of articulation. But we'll get to that more with the articulation. But if you just leave him in his basic Bowser pose like this, he's going to look good enough. He'll look okay. And he does have a gimmicky feature, which I'm going to count as part of the aesthetic. So what it is you pop his shell off, throw some battery in his back, flip a switch, pull the back of his hair off, pour some water in his head, and then when you press this shell, his mouth lights up, and he blows steam. It's smoke for Bowser, but steam in real life. It actually works surprisingly well. It doesn't need a special fluid like some RC cars need, and I'm pretty pleased with it for I think he was $40. So let's see if it'll work right now on camera. I may have to shut off some of the lights, but let's see what happens. You can see the mouth is glowing. I don't know how well you can see the steam. I'm going to shut off this light right here in front of him. See if that helps. That should help. Let's see. It's hard to see on that background. Do I have something? Will that help? Let me zoom in a little bit. I want you guys to be able to see the steam. Because it's steam, it's not super visible. It's not like the smoke from RC cars, but it does work surprisingly well for steam. It's hard to press the button at this angle. I think you're getting the idea enough. It looks better in person, but it does, I mean, you can see it some, I think, so that's gonna have to do. I can't turn the lights off or you definitely won't see the steam. But yeah, the LED, it's a little obvious in there, but it does make his mouth glow and the steam does work. So for a kid's toy, I think that's perfectly fine. It has to be, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be, but they made it water, I'm guessing, to keep chemicals away from kids. I don't know. But yeah, it works well enough. So his aesthetic, not quite as good as Mario's because of the pre-posed sculpting and some weird issues with the paint and stuff, but it's not bad. I'll give him, I don't know. I don't want to only give him a 6. I'm going to go 7 also. It's technically not quite as good as Mario, but for different reasons, they're both getting bumped up. Mario has the cool eyes. He's got the glowy mouth with the steam. You know, I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to be generous and give it to him. I think this is going to be fine to stick on a shelf too. So let's go ahead and move on to the accessories. Bowser has none. Mario gets a plunger that doesn't even have the hollow plunger part. So accessories, I'm gonna go 0 out of 10. That might as well be garbage. The World of Nintendo has better accessories. Okay, let's do articulation. I'm sure that's gonna be important for some of you guys. So let's see what Mario has. On the head, it's technically a ball peg, or there's at least a little bit of wiggle, but I'm gonna say it's not. I'm gonna say it's just a swivel, but it does swivel, which they couldn't achieve on the SH Figure Arts. As you can see, he still has no neck, but you can still give him a swivel. So, you know, people still comment on that SH Figure Arts review and complain that I said it wasn't as good as it should have been. This figure already has better articulation. For the shoulders, the arms go almost all the way down. They go pretty high up. I'll take that. That's perfectly fine. No bicep swivel. You do get your full rotation. Single jointed elbow, sort of. It's got a weird cutout, and I don't know why they did that. And I don't know why they did any of this, because they could have made this work so much better with just like a basic joint. But they put an actual ball hinge in there. So you can technically get some bicep swivel out of that if you want, but they didn't cut it so that you actually have any real range in the elbow joint. It's super limited and not particularly good looking. This was engineered by somebody who has not spent a lot of time around action figure engineering. This is not good. It's not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's definitely not good. For the wrists, it's just a swivel, so there's nothing special to talk about there. Somebody told me you can swap hands with the SH Figure Arts. I guess if you want to have him holding a shell or something, you can do that. I don't know if you really want to, but I guess you can. Although when I pulled on the one hand, it sure looked like the red peg was going to snap right off. So I'm going to say don't do that, but if you really want to give it a try, at least warm up the hands to pop them off. So far, not great articulation, but probably passable. For the waist, you get some rotation. It looks like you should have more range based on the way they cut that up. Looks like it should be like a diaphragm joint where he leans and stuff, but he can't. So that's pretty disappointing. They definitely could have given him a lot more range in that waist. For the hips, he does have pretty good hips. They don't go that far forward, but I would say they go pretty far forward. They don't really go back too far. Going out to the side, that's pretty good. It's not bad. Thigh swivel is in there. Single jointed knee gives him about 90 degrees, so that is okay. I don't mind that. Then the ankle, it's just on a little wiggly ball peg, kind of just for adjustments. Not much to do there. So is his articulation impressive? Not at all. What about at the price point, 25 bucks? Definitely not. I think it's just the Nintendo tax and the fact that they gave him those weird eyes. But either way, his articulation's not good. Is it passable, good enough for like a crappy Mario figure? I guess, because we don't have a ton to choose from, but that doesn't really make this okay. So I'm going to rate his articulation at only a 4 out of 10. Could be a lot better. I love that we get the rotation in the head that you don't always see on a Mario figure. Shoulders are fine, but the rest is pretty lackluster, so it's not going to be impressive. I'm guessing if you're into buying this line, especially if you get it at the discounted price at Target, you're not going to really care. But I wanted to go through it just in case somebody thought because they look fancier because of the sculpt and the eyes and stuff, it might be fancy. It's not, and it's definitely overpriced. Now for Bowser. He's worse because of the gimmick in his head. Oh, also, did I mention that the seam in the mouth is horrible? It is. Okay, so because of the gimmick, his head doesn't move at all. Shoulders, it feels like it's a ball hinge, or I guess a swivel hinge. I can't say for sure, but you get that kind of range, and you get your rotation. So it's in there, it's just not a ton. This is not a ball hinge, this is a fixed hinge. So you can just bend his elbow 90 degrees, or straighten it out, which doesn't look great at certain angles because of the way they shaped the arm. The wrists are just a swivel, and his hands are real rubbery. Same thing with his feet. It's a super soft PVC, or some other weird plastic that's not normally used. I bet it's PVC. Anyway, that's it for the arms. And then for the legs, you do get a hinge in there. Doesn't have a lot of range to do anything. You do get rotation. Doesn't have a lot of range to do anything. Plus the tail is still weird. Why the heck did they do that? Just make it symmetrical. His tail should be coming out of the middle, not connected to his leg, and then there's a gap. That's so weird. That's so weird. Okay, so the knees are actually really good though. 90 degrees on that knee. It's perfectly acceptable. And then the feet just rotate. So that's kind of a bummer too. Very, very limited range. His tail, ball peg and ball peg, but essentially they're just swivels. And because they're sculpted to be in their positions, it's not good. His articulation is hot garbage. Really bad. If you want to buy this figure, you have to want it in this pose or you're going to be disappointed. Luckily, that's the pose Bowser's almost always in, so that's fine with me. That's why I bought it, but it's hot garbage. I'm going to rate his articulation at 1 out of 10. It's really, really bad. For the $40 price point, I don't know, the gimmick does give him a bump, but it's pretty cheap. It's still a Jakks-specific figure that's kind of going premium pricing, relatively speaking, so I'm not feeling that all that much. Okay, so now it's time for a final verdict on these guys. Am I upset I bought them? No. I was going to buy them no matter what because of what they are. I'm guessing most people are in that same boat. They want some Mario figures to go with the new movie, especially if it turns out to go gangbusters and everybody loves it. You're going to want the figures in your collection. Plus, there's kind of a limited selection of Nintendo-based product out there anyway. So I'm guessing if you're in that same boat with me, you don't really care, but now you have the information to at least know what you're buying. But for those of you who do care and you're going to base your decision on this review, these guys are not worth the money. Mario in particular, $25 for that is nuts. The price at Target right now, I think it's $14. Go get it for sure. $25? Heck no. No way. Bowser for $40? Still probably not. Even with that gimmick, it's just a water gimmick, so I'm going to say maybe 25 for him. You could even go 30 for him and like 15 for Mario. Either way, they're not worth it, I don't think, if you're actually going to be technical about it. So I'm going to give them a final rating of, if you're going to be technical about it, I'm going to give Mario I'm going to give them both each a 6. They're each going to get a 6. They're not horrible, but they are overpriced and they're not very high quality. Technically speaking. Personally, I don't care. So let's do another question of the day. Do you care? Were you going to get them anyway? Does it bother you that they're not that good? I was expecting them to be not that good, and they're not, and I'm okay with it because I wanted them anyway. That's how I feel. But review-wise, they're getting a 6 each. They aren't that good. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.